All right, what is up, you guys? I'm so excited to be back to do another reading for the second half of Cancer season. This is going to cover like July 5th, July 22nd time, when Leo season begins. But I'm super excited to actually bring forward the story that I'm seeing here because there are big like perception shifts that are occurring for us right now, and I think that the way that this has been coming to me, and the way that I want to I guess relay this to you all, I think will be really meaningful for helping us really understand what we're moving through, right? So we're going to break it down into the plot, the action, and the climax. Then we'll get into the grounding, how we can cultivate more peace in the message from spirit. But before that, I got to do the call to action things, right? So go ahead and like this video if you do like this content. Subscribe if you want to follow along in the future for more videos like this. If it is meaningful for you, definitely comment below what you are experiencing as we are journeying through this next 2 weeks, the second half of Cancer season. Share this if you think this would be a meaningful video for anybody that is close to you, that you love. And then check the description below for the link to my Ko-Fi page where I post these videos, like I share these links, but I also post the channel notes that I take for this content, and I post the pictures of the spreads and all the cards that I pull for this as well. So that is on my Ko-Fi page where you can also donate to me to support me if you are so inclined. All right, so we're gonna get into this. The first section is the plot. So this is going to be how we are walking into this second half of Cancer season, right? And it is starting off with the Eight of Flags, which is the Eight of Swords, and the Daydreamer card, which is the Lover's card in my deck, right? So this is big. There are big openings, like energetic openings, of potential that really feel like they are reflecting a soul truth for us, right? But there is a lot of uncertainty because the Lover's card, I always say this is a counterpart card to the Devil, where the lovers would represent the unfamiliar heaven, and then the Devil would represent the familiar hell, right? So there is something activating us, some type of new portal, new direction, or choice that wants to be made that is reflecting some kind of truth. It's providing a sort of call for us to move down this path, right? But with this Eight of Swords, this is like almost like a hard stop, but it's really mental, right? This Eight of Swords really feels like a mental block. And I think that this energy is really interesting for us because I I feel like we are perceiving this block as if it is mental, but it's more actually an energetic block, right? Um, and that's because of some other energies that I will be talking about further once we get into the next section. But the kind of visual or the analogy I've been getting with this is like walking down the hall of mirrors, or like, being within a house of mirrors where we're being activated, right? And we're being activated on a soul level with the Lover's card here. And then with this Eight of Swords, swords being your thoughts, your perception, and how we create meaning out of our reality, it's very mental, right? So the nervous system is very heightened. And I think because of that sensation of our nerves just going overdrive, um, we are, our logical mind is trying to perceive this through old narratives, old fear narratives, or stories that are kind of related to um, any type of pain, past pain, or emotional disappointment or emotional loss, right? There is a hesitancy that is coming through that is based off of the uncertainty of what this large expanding feeling is within us, and that we desire to explore a little bit more, but we're having a hard time figuring out just how to move forward, right? And we're thinking it's a mental block, but it's more so an emotional or kind of subconscious energetic block. Um, so I want to move on to the next section because this is going to provide a little bit more information on why we feel like we're hesitating, right? So the action, this is how we are desiring to move our energy forward, coming off of this plot line, right? So we have the Four of Flags in the reverse, and we have the Better Together card, which is the Chariot card in my deck. Four of Flags in the reverse, that's the Four of Swords, right? The first thing that's really interesting to me is that we had this Lover's card, which is the sixth in the Major Arcana. And then now we have the Chariot, which is the number 7. So there is progression here, right? And that is all, or exactly what the Chariot card is about. It desires a energetic sense of progression or like growth, like a linear sense of movement moving forward. Thank you to the person in the comments. And so uh, at this time, you know, we're feeling like we are being blocked mentally, but there is something that we've been almost procrastinating on that we really want to untangle, right? We want to kind of confront this stagnancy because the Four of Swords card, you know, it's that card of mental rest. It really reminds me of sleeping on a decision, right? But in the reverse, it gets into this state of procrastination. So there could be situations currently for us in our external reality already that we've been trying to move forward with, right? But once again, we're feeling blocked because there is a certain tension or heightened nervous system response that is coming through due to the uncertainty of what's in front of us. You know, we're really curious about exploring this thing, but there's so much past fear, right? So one, there is a moon in this Four of Swords card, and then the Chariot card is archetypally similar to the sign of Cancer in the zodiac, and that sign is ruled by the moon, right? So the moon really rules those like emotional, subconscious stirrings. You know, it's what we need for feelings of satisfaction, love, nurture, belonging, safety, right? And with this Four of Swords in the reverse, it really feels like there's like past emotional loss, past pain, past disappointment that has created a narrative, that has created a perception or belief within us, right? And this activation that is occurring for us right now with this Lover's card, we are only able to perceive it through this lens of the past pain, right? And so this, once again, is kind of reinforcing this analogy of the Hall of Mirrors, where something externally is activating us and we're getting curious about it, but our perception of it might be distorted, right? And that distortion is caused by that old narrative. And the only way to actually really move forward with this and to reconcile this is to create enough space to, one, be present with what is activating within you, and then two, ask yourself whether or not this activation, whether or not you're looking at this situation with fresh eyes or if you're looking at it through the lens of a former hurt or a former, you know, disappointment. Because if you are kind of responding or reacting to this situation with that past pain, then you could cut off something that is genuinely in alignment with you, you know? It just feels like this potential to miss out on something that is actually able to satisfy you. Sorry, y'all. I got disconnected. But what I was saying is that, there's opportunity to have your needs met in an authentic way. But I feel like we are allowing this, you know, fear of uncertainty and activation within our nervous system to push away this type of, alignment or the curiosity to even see what is being activated within us, right? So we're going to go to the climax, and this is really going to show how this is externally manifest in our reality. And it's coming up as the sibling of flags in the reverse and the vibe card, which is the Four of Wands in my deck, right? This is such an interesting kind of position because it goes multiple ways, right? Where one, I love the imagery on this card where, this person is learning how to speak in different languages because I feel like this is really the potential or, the benefit of what is going on these 2 weeks for us because we're getting the opportunity to shift our perception in regards to those energetic sensations, those energetic impulses in our body, right? Instead of impulsively reacting to what is showing up for us based off of an old truth, we're actually sitting with this activation long enough to rewrite and rewire this narrative, right? So it's like you could be looking at a situation and being like, in the past, I got cut off or, I lost whatever connection that I had to like a person or a thing that you really enjoyed, that you really resonated with on an emotional level, right? And so now, when you're having an opportunity to align with something that once again feels like it is reflecting that type of emotional truth or emotional resonance with you, you are already associating it with the loss from the past. You know what I mean? So you would push it away. But instead, you're just going to get curious about it now and realize, that it could actually show up in a different way. It's like what you thought it was, or how you were perceiving it actually is not what it is in reality and how it's showing up in this present moment. In an interesting way, I feel like some people could feel like humbled. It's like they started getting activated and they speak too soon or take some type of action because they wanted to really calm down this sense of uncertainty of what is going on. And then they find out that what they thought was happening is completely not what is actually happening, and then it's just like, dang, I came in hot, with this perspective or with this, kind of assertive language or decision, right? Only to not have it like fully like blown back in your face, but only for it to be revealed as not what you thought it was, but you kind of jumped the gun in regards to actually responding to this, right? So that is like the potential of this time, and what's happening for us is that we are able to, one, sit longer with the activations within us, right? And when we sit longer with that, we allow more stillness and more time to look at different ways that this activation can be defined, if that makes sense. I want to look at my notes because there was something interesting in my notes. It says the conscious shift of perspective and inviting a revision of what we believe to be certain. Training or learning to integrate more faces of truth. And that's what it is, yeah. Learning how to integrate more faces of truth, because whatever past disappointment, whatever past hurt or pain, happened, that's still true. but that doesn't have to be true of everything, right? That doesn't have to always be true. But if you do not allow yourself to kind of meet this moment with fresh eyes, then you won't be able to receive new data points that help you um, rewrite this narrative or rewire your logical processing to not immediately go to this place of fear and danger and insecurity. you know at the end of the day, you really don't know what is ahead of you, but if you're going to engage with this as if you already know, you're going to miss out on the opportunity to release the old narrative and really shed this old response mechanism. So we're going to go into the grounding energy, right? It's showing up as the Strength card and the Pilot Light card, which is the Queen of Wands in my deck. And once again, we have more progression with these major arcana, right? We had the Lover's card, the 6th major arcana. We had the Chariot card, the 7th major arcana. And now we have the Strength card, the 8th major arcana. So there is actual progression that is available to us right now on a soul level, on a level of purpose and essence, right? I love this combination with the Strength card and the Queen of Wands because this is telling us, as far as advice for how we are staying grounded through this next 2 weeks, that we don't have to do anything but be ourselves, The Strength card, I think this card is so interesting because it kind of has similar themes to the Chariot card, where it's about integration in a way. The Chariot is more about like integrating your external self with your shadow or internal self, which is like just like your emotional needs or your emotional truth, right? If you're not feeding both of those aspects of yourself, you're not able to move forward, right? They're always going to be pulling in different directions. Once you get to the Strength card, it's like you're already integrated on this level of the Chariot where, you engage with this external part of yourself that people see, and you still do honor your internal needs. But with the Strength card, this is about staying in alignment with that ego desire and that instinctual kind of passion or expression, and not dimming that down, not repressing that for external palatability, if you understand what I mean, right? Because the Strength card, this big lion, it's a Leo type card. And Leo, it's ruled by the sun, it is visible, it's very seen, like it shines light, and it is sensitive to perception, right? So sometimes with the Strength card, you could repress kind of that soul essence, that soul fire, that soul expression when it makes other people uncomfortable, right? But then with this Queen of Wands card, this is about being truly aligned with your authentic creative energy, your authentic creative inspiration, and like life force, right? The Queen of Wands, this is about not needing to prove and really just allowing yourself to receive the accolades or the attention just based off of your authentic love and connection to your craft, to your expression or your creative outlet, right? This is really trusting your authentic creative flow, your natural creative gifts and creative essence, and not needing to prove that. Really allowing yourself to engage with all the authentic, like, inspired action or inspired creation or expression that is calling to you, and when you are just allowing yourself to align with that, you receive all the opportunities, the aligned connections, all the things that really have the capacity to, one, hold your truth, like your hold your authentic expression, but also like empower that and reinforce that. You know, everything that you naturally desire to explore or express or create, um, that is your power in this moment, to really help you become more clear and certain on your energetic baseline. You know, um, it helps you become clear on the things that you show up for that are authentic to you and that are heart led and heart inspired, rather than the things that you were doing for external affirmation or external validation, you know? Because with this, once again, with this Four of Swords in the reverse, there could have been ways that you felt that you were exiled or excluded for your authentic self, your authentic truth. And because of that, you end up overcompensating um, in different areas just to create that temporary sense of safety, right? But if you are in your own true essence all of the time, and you allow yourself to relax into the safety of just who you are and your energy and your authentic essence and your authentic desire, then you develop this level of safety that is purely internal, that is purely self inspired, self led. And then, you're no longer burning yourself out because you are repressing your authentic desire, or you are trying so hard to show up in the way that um, kind of protects you from that external uh, disappointment or loss, if that makes sense, which I think it does. So we're going to move into the Serenity. This is how we can cultivate more peace for these next 2 weeks. And it's coming up as the Child of Lanterns, which is the Page of Wands in this deck. And then the Perfectly in Place card, which is the Three of Pentacles in my deck. So I actually really love that these pentacles came up, right? Because the pentacles, especially the Three of Pentacles, this card is about progression. It's about showing up on a consistent effort to build towards a long-term goal. Efficiency, kind of planning. Sometimes it's about like collaborations with other individuals and everybody's putting in their piece to build this thing together, right? So, and with Pentacles, it's very tangible. It's practical. You know what I mean? It's material. It provides some type of physical resource or security or stability or a skill. With the Page of Wands, this is really cool because it feels like there is a practical or tangible kind of commitment or seed or investment that we are actually excited and motivated to work with and to show up for, right? With fire and with earth, I like this combination because it's not just practical, it's not just obligation and responsibility and survival. There is a blend of passion and love and inspiration there that shifts this experience from a like heavy like discipline and chop wood carry water experience into something that's more devotional. You know what I mean? It's like, sure, there's still a lot of effort and consistency that needs to be put in there, but you are willing to show up for this because you're inspired, because it provides joy and excitement and just lights your fire. I also like this combination of cards because it's showing that, whichever way that we are building or whatever ways or practical things that we are incorporating now with this perspective shift, we have the ability to kind of adjust and rearrange and reorient, right? Because you're not immediately going to get it right on the first go, as far as how you are now implementing new uh, like perceptions in regards to like value and what's meaningful, um, and kind of what like long-term goals that you want to build towards. You're implementing different systems, you're implementing different rhythms and different resources, and some of those things are going to feel more aligned, and some of those things won't feel as exciting or as aligned or like something that you want to show up for on a consistent basis. But this is providing information, especially the things that you end up like dropping. This is providing information on where you need to pivot or where you need to reorient or readjust, right? In order for things to flow better or more consistently, or um, yeah, for them to kind of build on each other in a more practical and efficient way. Um, so, in regards to cultivating more peace, that is what you should know, that while you're making these shifts, you know what I mean, and allowing yourself to try out new perspectives, um, everything is not going to flow with ease, but that doesn't mean that it's not aligned for you. Maybe try a different order or try a different item or resource or whatever, you know? There's just a way that we can shift and reorient and try again until we find what is authentic and what is sustainable on an energetic level. Okay, so the last section, this is the message from Spirit. It's coming up as the Elder of Flags in the reverse, King of Swords in the reverse, and the first try card, which is the Page of Wands in my deck. So look, we just got 2 hits of this Page of Wands energy, with this Child of Lanterns in the last section and this first try card here. This message that I'm getting from Spirit is like, don't take yourself too seriously, with this King of Swords energy, like, we have built up so much momentum with our truth up until this point, right? Like, there is a way that we have been perceiving reality and navigating our reality up until this point, where now we have to be a little bit more willing to allow ourselves to be open to another way of defining our circumstances, right? And also like identity too, because I see like this combination with the Page of Wands and the King of Swords. There could be certain beliefs or certain perspective that we have been holding on to, that has been ready to be released, that the only reason that you've been holding on to it so much is because it's tied to a certain identity, but you might realize that that identity is also tied to a fear response, or some type of hypervigilant thing that's meant to protect yourself, that is also blocking you from aligning with something bigger and aligning with something meaningful, So it's like you have to put the sword down and allow yourself to get curious about a different perspective, get curious about a different way of looking at yourself or defining your reality or defining your identity, And then the other really thing that's important is that, engaging with a new perspective doesn't completely invalidate your past or your current, truth, or your current, definition of self. You can update that. It doesn't have to be you have to completely shift your identity. You're just kind of shifting more so what aspects materially or what aspects and kind of what value you place um, on certain kind of creative outlets or creative expression, you know, and how that reflects on you, if that makes sense. I just feel like a lot of people have been holding back some authentic pieces of self because they felt like, you know, it's not practical, it's not valuable, or, it's not worth it to build in this direction. But you're allowing yourself to see more value in that, see more value in introducing more joy or loosening up your perception on how much joy you can have, what is safe for you to express and show up as, what things that you felt like you needed to prove, like what roles that you had to play versus who you actually just are. you know, this is the moment where we can find that out, but we need to, have enough stillness, have enough awareness to be present with the activation that is happening within us, and not letting ourselves kind of push things away impulsively due to misperceiving the opportunity or the opening or the expansion that's happening within us. So that's what I have for the tarot message, you guys. Let's see if I can summarize this really quick. The plot of the next 2 weeks, Eight of Swords and the Lover's card, there's an expansion that's happening inside of us. And there's a hesitancy of what this is. But I invite you to get curious about what narratives that you may have perceiving this situation, and whether or not that is based off of some past fear, some past hurt, which is being represented with the action. Four of Swords in the reverse, Chariot card. There is an integration that is needing to be had with like these former fear narratives and kind of needs that desire to be met in our present circumstance. So then the climax, Knight of Swords reverse and Four of Wands. This is new clarity, new understanding, new ways of defining our energetic baselines and kind of what is authentic creative desire or creative expression, right? We are defining these heightened sensations in a new way and being able to engage with them in a new way as well that is more intentional and more authentic rather than needing to prove something or control an outcome or situation externally. Grounding, the Strength card, and the Queen of Wands, all you have to do at this moment is relax into your authentic desires. Relax into your authentic creative expression and creative truth, right? Because then that is going to magnetize the aligned opportunities, the aligned relationships, the aligned people to you, in a way where you don't have to prove yourself to maintain these relationships, and you can just feel safe in your natural gifts, in your natural truth, your natural expression. How we can cultivate more peace. Page of Wands and the Three of Pentacles. We're trying out new collaborations, new resources, new practical rhythms or systems that are heart inspired, right? Um, we have the ability to kind of adjust and rearrange and reorganize um, what efforts and what resources that we are engaging with, and allow any like resistance or like failure or setbacks to provide the energetic information on how you can make a shift to help this flow in a more natural pace or a more natural way. And then the message from Spirit: listen, don't take yourself too seriously. You know, um, try out, be open to try the creative inspirations, new perspectives that are in alignment with any type of inspired actions that we desire to engage with. And yeah, that is the recap of the tarot message. We're going to look at the message from the Barbie Oracle. And I pulled the day to night Barbie. And the message from the day to night Barbie, it says, all work and no play makes Barbie, well, not Barbie. There's no denying our favorite doll is ambitious and hardworking, but she knows how to have fun too. Case in point, day to night Barbie. Inspired by the working women of the 80s, Barbie defined the pink power suit. She effortlessly transformed her signature business look into fab cocktail attire for a night on the town. Hit your deadlines and get that well-deserved promotion, but don't forget to celebrate those achievements before moving on to your next goal. You've earned it. All right, so the main thing that is really interesting that's coming through for me with this day to night Barbie is it says that, well, first it says all work and no play makes Barbie not Barbie. And then it says there's no denying our favorite doll is ambitious and hardworking, but she knows how to have fun too. So I think that is coming through really with this Strength card and this Queen of Wands, you know? Almost like that concept of all work and no play, whereas the all work is really being focused on that external perception. And if you are so focused on how you are being perceived, then you don't, you won't be aligned with like your actual joy, you know? I think within this like day and age, or our social culture within the United States, at least I should preference, or maybe that's just online culture in general or generational. But there is this kind of concept around like being cringe, that people don't want to be cringe. And what being cringe is actually just being happy and allowing yourself to engage with your pure joy. And there's nothing cringe about that. There's nothing wrong with that. That is just how you live a exciting, like full, passionate life. Who cares if people think that you're cringe or if people think it's awkward when you're getting everything that you want? You know what I mean? Like you are basking in your like creative utopia. We're gonna finish off with a message from the animal spirit. So let's see what animal spirit energy is coming through for us that has any prominent messages, what we need to know, be aware of, or possibly embody through the animal spirits. There was a jumper, but it didn't flip, and I wasn't finished with my intention, so I'm just gonna keep shuffling really fast, and I'll pull one. All right, we got the crocodile. So let us see what the crocodile is saying for us. Second half of Cancer season. Crocodile. Resting, submerging, collecting energy, cooling off. The crocodile reminds us to step back from the external world and turn inward. Now is not the time for decisions, action, or discussion. The crocodile's mantra is wait. This doesn't mean lying around hoping life's challenges will disappear. The crocodile is much smarter than that. It means intentionally withdrawing, gathering our awareness, observing, and building energy. Fill up the vital reserves so your next move comes from a place of wisdom and power. When in balance, it's wise, patient, and a silent powerhouse. When out of balance, it feels stuck and it lashes out. To bring it to balance, rest, Makarasana pose. Listen, you guys, the crocodile card, a beautiful bow to wrap up this reading because this is exactly what's happening. Like, we're retreating from this external um, need to control and moving inward, right? So that we can collect more information, collect more data, so that we can respond to what's happening within our power, and from a place of wisdom. You know, there is this moment of redefining the narrative, you know, like finally surrendering these past narratives that keep you limited, keep you small. We don't have to do that anymore, but also we don't have to rush, you know? But pay attention to how you're being activated at this time, because the activations are coming up in moments that are actually showing us where we still have the opportunity to align more to our energetic truth. And so I hope that was meaningful for y'all. Once again, like this, if you enjoyed this message, subscribe if you want to follow along for more readings in the future. Comment below, you guys. What's going on for you? Was this meaningful? Did you make any connections here? Share this with anybody else who you think would enjoy this content. And then last but not least, definitely check out my Ko-Fi page. The link is in the description below. You can check out the channeled notes that I wrote for this reading. And I do recommend these because a lot of times I feel like the message is more concise. Like, it's easier for me, or I get a lot of information now in the writing that it's hard to just grasp when I get to the filming portion. But it has a lot of information, and it also has like questions that can help stimulate kind of what is going on for you. And then also on my page, you can donate to my channel, to my work, if you enjoy these readings, if it's meaningful for you. But that is completely up to your discretion. So until next time, you guys, like, I hope you enjoy this rewiring process, and definitely invite some more stillness and allow yourself to just finally release those old like fear narratives. You don't have to live within this past experience. You know, we can rewrite the story. So that's what I got, and I'll see y'all next time.